Weirdly enough, Stephen King, the Firestarter book. Firestarter. Firestarter is essentially the X-Men before the X-Men was a thing. If you ever go read Firestarter, it's essentially the X-Men before X-Men was officially a thing. In a really weird way.
I think I'll circle back to picking up novels because I'm probably end up gonna go studying for another licensing because that's the career path I unfortunately chosen for myself. Because the field I am in now is just like, oh yeah, you want to do this, you're gonna have to go for licensing exams.
You're gonna have to be certified a whole bunch of different times.
Yeah. If you don't want to do that, be a programmer. Oh, you can't stand programming? Tough shit.
I was actually thinking about getting into programming long time ago.
If you can have fun with it, I say do it. I can't find fun with it anymore.
The reason why I wanted to get into it was because I wanted to learn how to do game development. Because in those days, I remember around 20, what was it? Around 2014, 2015, that's when it officially became coding and all this stuff was becoming the burgeoning field, and there were plenty of jobs for coding because the app market was on the rise.
Resident Evil.
And then for some reason, for me, I was you know what, I went and learned criminal justice, but I feel like I should try to get another skill. So I was thinking about getting into coding. Because in a weird way, I even wrote a video game premise. And I'm like, ooh, part of the hobby is if I learn coding, I can learn cell shading and I can learn how to run an engine and I can make a crappy N64-esque looking graphic levels after maybe 20 years of doing it by myself. Then I never got around to it. Lockdowns happened and life became really busy.
Bravo team. It disappeared during the middle.
But I was thinking about doing that.
You probably will be able to pick it up sometime after your wedding, if you want to.
Yeah, no, it'll probably be after the wedding. I was thinking about going to Code Academy because a buddy of mine goes to Code Academy.
The Bravo team was sent in to investigate.
And he says it's actually going really well for him. So he goes to Code Academy. For me, it's just it's just for a hobby. I was telling Crystal too. I want to learn. I like to learn stuff and do stuff as a hobby. The whole reason why I know story structure, which is why I get annoyed with movies and shit sometimes, is because for a hobby I learn story structure and I write short stories when I'm bored.
Yeah, you
continued our search for the other members.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I get the idea as to how a story works and why some stuff is annoying to me. And some people, when they get annoyed, they're like, "Oh well, you're being really harsh on Black Panther." No, I'm not. There's a
it's just
story
another version of
Lion King.
I'm thinking of the one that was the inspiration for Lion King. You know the one.
Macbeth.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Macbeth.
Yes, it is. It's Macbeth.
Yeah,
no, wait, no, it's not Macbeth. It's Hamlet.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Hamlet. Sorry,
Hamlet. It's Hamlet.
Hamlet and Macbeth are ones I've always heard about because of pop culture and such. Never got to read it in school.
I read them. Macbeth is essentially every gangster movie you've ever watched.
Yeah.
That's Macbeth. Macbeth is Scarface. That's the best way I could describe it. Describe that one. That's Scarface.
Really?
Yes, it's Scarface. The idea is Macbeth gets vision that he is going to be king someday, but he can't even father children, and he's going to be the end of his line. So then Macbeth decides that the best way for him to become king is by killing the king who was his friend to assert the throne. He does. After he kills the king, he starts to become paranoid that his best friend is going to hurt him. So he has his best friend executed. He has his best friend double-crossed and killed. But the son escapes. So it's like, it's like those gangster mob movies. It's been done a few times as a mob movie, Macbeth. Hamlet has actually been done as a gangster movie too, as a gangster series too. It just wrapped up a couple years ago. $2 if you get it. Which TV series was recently done that was Hamlet?
A TV series? Oh shit.
A TV series, it ran from 2009 to about 2015. It was Hamlet.
There are only 3 STARS members left now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get this one.
Captain Wesker, Jill,
Sons of Anarchy.
and myself. We don't know where Barry is.
Funny enough, I was just reading like a synopsis of
everyone
Sons
all
of
right?
Anarchy like about 2 months
Barry.
ago. Don't ask me
Where's
why.
Barry?
It's a good show.
He's...
It's insane.
No.
It was a really
Right.
good show.
Because
What was
like
that?
all I remember about that show was it was a bunch of
I'll go and
motorcycle
check it out.
gang
All right.
members.
Jill and I will stay
It
and secure
had
this area.
neo-Nazis in it, and they basically ran their town
Take care.
like they were the law.
Yeah.
But law enforcement was a thing there, and that's as much as I could remember. And it was like rated MA, so I'm like, that's as far as I know. But like when I started reading the synopsis of it, I'm just like, oh, they ran a train on like the matriarchy of the bike gang in
mom,
the
yeah,
first
his mother.
season. Yeah, in the first season, I'm just like, what the fuck is this? And then just like towards the end, the betrayals started to make less and less sense. And I'm just like, the mother was like the villain. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, she was actually the overarching villain the whole time.
Yeah, it's like she didn't start out that way, but then when you
Actually, when you go back and you actually watch it, she always was.
yeah, but like they just like, okay, she was just more of like I'm trying to think, what was it? I don't want to say necessary evil, but it's like, someone that you didn't completely hate, but like when they started to reveal like her role in offering her husband essentially just to be with, what was his best friend, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't the father's best friend. The father's best friend was somebody else. He was he was patched in later,
Wesker?
but because he had the backing, he started to kill. So if you go read the backlog, it's implied that Clay killed numerous members of the original 9, of the first 9. Those are the founding members. So it's implied that he killed a few of them in order to be able to put himself in a position to take control of the table, and that she backed his decision. And ultimately, he knew that JT was going to leave. John Teller was going to leave, but they couldn't have JT out there because there were still people within the club loyal to JT. So JT had to go. However, it's later on implied that JT may not have actually been murdered, but when he saw that, it's like the whole idea, right, is that JT was killed because the cover story is that they fucked with JT's bike, and when he was riding, the bike was supposedly fucked, and then it went out of its way. Like he was killed under a truck or something by accident. But that the bike was essentially no good, and that's how he died. Like they sabotaged his bike. However, one of his best friends and a few of the people that knew JT and rode with JT all said a fucked up wire was not enough to put that guy down. That guy saw what was going on, and he chose to go out that way. He'd rather go out that way instead of facing what was on his way because he was not a violent dude. He didn't. His plan for Sons of Anarchy was not to be a gangster group. His plan was more so to be like a hippie confine, like riding, to be free, to live outside the system, to live outside regulations.
I
Whereas the
can't
other guy
remember.
built the connections with the real IRA organization.
And then, well, because wasn't it his idea to start pushing drugs? Because they didn't ever used to do that when the other guy was the leader. It was
No,
like
even then,
after.
when Clay showed up, Clay saw that. So, like again, right? It's very interesting. Like if you listen to their language, it sounds very like Shakespearean. Clay only had maybe 2 seasons left where he could ride because the arthritis was already getting to him, getting old. So Clay decided that before he retired and passed the gavel over to Jax, his main character, that he was going to try and get as much money out of the life before it was time to step down. So he made connections with drug cartels. Clay made those connections to start muling drugs across state lines. Originally, Clay, they didn't do that. All they did was mess with guns. That was it. They were
Yeah,
gun
they were.
dealers.
Yeah,
They
which
didn't
oof.
believe in anything else. Once they got into the drugs, then it turns out that the guy that Clay connected them with was a Fed who was trying to get in with, was trying to figure out who was dealing drugs in the area.
Wait, that sounds
And
like the plot of season 3 or 4. Because I remember there was what was it? Yeah, the FBI got um. Well, the FBI did a lot of like that one agent was doing a lot of shady shit, which was that it was basically borderline illegal. Because like they they were trying to embed. How did I go? At least in regards to the guns, they went in there trying to bring down the Sons of Anarchy, and the best way to do that was to get them on a RICO charge.
oh
So I
yeah,
think that yeah, so that person like promoted the idea for them to like start dealing drugs because they never used to do that before. And then that's when that came to a head, I believe. But then like, and then that person then took it a step too far and actually ended up killing someone important. I forget.
so
Um,
the storylines are kind of muddled all over the place. So
yeah,
this is how I remember it went down. Um, in season one, there's a deputy who
yes,
is there's a deputy who is legit, and the
yes, but
sheriff is on the
he's basically on the
side.
side,
The
yeah, of the
sheriff is on the side of Sons of Anarchy. The
yeah, which
deputy
is
was not. So what happens is the main dude's girlfriend, Jax's girlfriend, I can't remember her name right now at the top, Tara.
wait,
She
wait,
comes home back to Charming because she left
uh,
Charming, and then the dude who she was dating was this DEA. He was an ATF agent, and he was a fucking freak. He was stalking her. He was a vicious, violent freak. He was stalking her.
oh wait, no, you're talking about Clay's
No,
ex.
no, no. Tara's ex. He was a fucking freak. He was
No.
stalking
I'm not talking
her.
about Terry. I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about like no, like when it first when the show first like season 1 starts, like
Yeah.
Clay and Tara weren't together. They had dated before,
Yeah, JT and
but
Tara weren't together. So, no, Jax and Tara weren't together. Clay is the dad. Clay
oh
is
okay,
the stepdad.
yeah, I forgot about. Yeah. Wait, what? Oh, wait, so actually no. Before we go further, Jack's father, because I can't remember what was
His
the
name is
whole
JT.
legacy. Okay, yeah, the whole plot line for JT because the only thing I can remember is that he was he was speculated to have cheated, but like
He did cheat.
yeah, but like because he had an illegitimate child that was over in Ireland. Within
Yeah.
that whole weird that subplot made no sense when I read it. I'm like, this literally makes no sense. Either the
So
Wikipedia is leaving some stuff out, or
yeah, they left a lot out in the Wikipedia because like it
because like
essentially
they
JT planned on leaving California,
yes
leaving Gemma, and going back to going to live in Belfast with the new
with the
lady.
original
And
chapter.
no, theirs is the original chapter. They founded Belfast. He
Yeah,
founded
yeah.
that chapter in Belfast. The original chapter is what they call them. So if you ever pay attention, a lot of the chapters have this way of being, but the only ones that have the letter initial O at the end of it is them.
Mm.
So because they're from, I think, California, I can't remember the California Reading or Charming or whatever.
Yeah,
Charming, yeah. So
it's
they
some made
get
up county.
the emblem Sam Crow. There we go.
Mm.
There's chapter Redwood Original. They're the original. They're the founding. So even when people cross over to visit them, they call them Mother. They don't even call them by like, oh, I'm here visiting Sam Bell, Sam Taz, Sam anything. They call them Mother. That's what they
Yeah,
refer to them as because they're the founding chapter.
but that plot line made no sense with the whole baby snatching. I'm just like, I can't follow
Well,
this.
everybody got annoyed with the baby snatching plot line and the time they're in Belfast because it's like, why don't you just get back the baby? But it
I think what
serves.
it read like filler because like the main thing was is like because like that happened right as Jack was like he made a deal with the with the agent, but not I mean I think he kind of figured out like at some point before the deal was like finalized that the agent was going to turn on him anyway, and he's like it was like some like plot twist of like oh he told the rest of the Sons of Anarchy and they all plotted to get rid of the agent, which that's a felony. Which I'm just like they just committed so many felonies left and right, like it's like no big deal. It was hilarious.
Well, they got rid
Cause
of two agents. So which agent are you
yeah,
talking about? They
I don't
killed
know,
two.
like yeah, there was the main bad female one who like she needed to go. Like what she did was like
She got
first
that
of all,
guy's wife killed.
yeah, didn't need to do it. Did it anyway. I'm like that
She
was
got
hilarious.
Opie's wife killed because of that shit.
Yep. Mm,
And
and
fun
then
fact, Opie is in God of War, right?
no.
Opie's in God of War. He's Thor.
Oh, that's hilarious.
They even pulled the likeness a little bit to make him look like Thor.
Okay. Yeah, Opie's one of the few ones that actually survived towards the end, right? Because he
Nope.
gets out.
Opie is put down in season 4, I believe, end of season 4.
Oh wait, in prison, right?
In the prison, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He fights
That's
in the
right.
prison because the guards make him fight.
Yeah. He took the shanking for Jack because
No, he got
it.
beaten to death.
Oh wait, am I thinking of someone else?
Jax got
Because
stabbed in the prison by some Russians.
yeah, but
And
like
then
they
when they were in
wasn't
the
it like
prison,
mm,
a few of them die in the prison. But I remember
yeah.
Opie, what happens was they get into a fight or something, and then they round a bunch of them up. When they round a bunch of them up, they pull them all aside, and they do something where they say, like, all right, one of you guys is going to have to fight to the death. It's 1 versus 5.
Yeah,
So then
Opie
they pull
volunteers.
Opie volunteers to not let Jax go in,
Mm-hmm.
and then Opie gets a weapon. They give Opie a pipe,
Mm.
and then they let 4 guys in. So Opie manages to knock one guy out because he was a big dude, But then
But then,
after a while, like, he's one guy versus he gets tired. The big guy holds him down. They take the pipe out of his hand. They start beating him up, and then
and
they bash his skull in.
doesn't Jack watch from like the
They're
other side of the
watching from the
window?
safety glass. They're watching
Mm.
from the safety glass to the back. So when it's over, Jax remembers everybody's face, and he looks at the guard, and he goes, "When I get out of here, I'm going to kill you." And the guard's like, "That's if you get out of here." And he looks at him, "I am going to kill you." And he leaves. When they get
Mm.
out,
Yeah.
the guard didn't think they were going to get out. They get out. He gets the name of the guard, and they go to the house, and they shoot his wife in front of him. He's like, "You know what it's like to have someone you love taken away from you?"
Mm.
He's like, and he shoots the wife. He's like, "Well, now you know." And then he shoots him right there on the spot. "I told you when I get out, I'd fucking come and kill you for what you did." That was
That's
one. Huh?
yeah. That wasn't as bad as when like didn't he go back to jail again? But then during the second time, the second tour around, like he starts losing his shit. But that was like after he loses Tara, because what the mother kills Tara after just losing her shit for no good reason, and then
Oh, I can
uses
explain
that to
that one.
manipulate. Yeah, she
So,
manipulates her son, and like he just starts making terrible decisions, which
so
is like he just wanted to go to war.
she had. So this is the thing with her, right? Is when you know what his mother's real motivation was throughout the majority of the series.
Mm.
She was the true leader of the MC. She, her way of being in control was by manipulating whoever sits at the head of the table.
Yeah,
So she manipulated Clay, and because Clay kept her rich, Clay kept her well taken care of, and she also had the status that she was Clay's wife. So in the town, she was a big like community player.
yeah,
Her aim
yeah,
was to also control Jax, and she had picked women that were more or less easily to manipulate with Jax to make sure that she could control whoever's
yeah.
sitting at the table.
Cause she hated Tara at first, and then she grew to like her, but then like
Tara figured
Tara,
out what she was doing, so Tara backed off. Tara wanted her to back off. Tara figured her out. So then what happened was Tara loses her arm. Like she was a surgeon. Her arm gets fucked up. She starts to like pull guns out and shit. And she realizes that this is all being around them.
yeah, she
And
wanted Jack to leave,
she
and
wanted to leave with Jax.
he was right there. He was so close to leaving, and then she
So,
killed.
well, actually, he wasn't gonna leave anymore because he just didn't want to be there. She didn't want anything to do with him. She wanted out. So Jax came up with a compromise that he would go to jail, and that would allow for Tara and everyone to relocate, and Tara would be able to be peacefully allowed to leave because Tara got arrested for something, and that cost her her career. But if Jax is in jail and Jax takes responsibility for what it was, then Tara can go on ahead and move forward peacefully elsewhere. When they went to arrest Jax or put Jax in custody, the someone overheard and they misheard it wrong that
Yeah,
Tara ratted.
yeah, and that
So
caused
the
the mother
the
to
mother
lose
went
her shit.
insane and she went
Yeah.
over there to kill her. The police officer, the new deputy, when he shows up and he finds out what's been going on, he tells her, "No, you were wrong. Tara didn't rat
Mm.
on anybody. What happened
But the
was Jax voluntarily gave himself up for Tara.
mm,
So when she's gonna go with the officer, the other another dude who she had manipulated comes
yeah,
in.
who was
Juice,
an actual rat?
who became an actual rat. Juice comes in
Mm.
and then Juice shoots the sheriff, and when Juice shoots the sheriff, now they're in bed together. But then after a
Yeah,
while, Juice gets caught, and then
like,
at this point, it's late. What Gemma has done to take the heat off of herself is she blamed everyone
Alpha team is flying around the forest.
for the murder and didn't take any responsibility for it. And then that way, as long as he's off on that vendetta against everyone else,
mhm.
There are
she's
only 3
okay.
stars members left.
Yeah,
She's safe.
he stays. He
Captain
stays.
Wesker.
Yeah, he
And
stays in control. He kills all their
We don't know
enemies.
where Barry is.
They take control of all these things. And then she's even has her hands on the grandkids because then she can manipulate the grandkids once her own son is out of the table, off the head of the table.
oh man,
That's what she was doing. That's when like it really comes out that that's who she is.
I'll go and check it out.
All right.
but like
Jill and I will
Juice.
stay and secure
Oh
this
my
area.
goodness. I was surprised to know that Juice's character was Shades from.
Yep, Shades from
Yeah,
Shades
that almost
from
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage.
That almost made me want to like watch because like he was never truly accepted, and like he kept fucking up a lot. Because like, well, yeah, because of his heritage. Because yeah, they were a racist group.
They were, and that's another thing that I had a conversation with someone a little while ago because they were like, oh, but they were an honorable group. I'm like, nah, they weren't. They were a racist group because they only allowed white folk to patch in.
But wasn't that part
And
of the father's? Oh, Jack's father's secret. I forget something to do with like the race, like when it was like something with like that particular chapter, like something with I forget.
there was a political reason behind it, but I can't remember what it was anymore. But I remember though, like there was that they had that reason, like they only allowed white
Because he
people
wanted,
in.
he wanted to change, and it seemed, dang, I want to go back up again, but yeah, he, I think he just told his son that the truth behind the whole thing. But the letter situation, Tara dropped the ball on that severely. She she had the upper hand in that situation when she finally got her hands on the letters that incriminated both the mother and Clay. Yeah,
Yeah, she got rid of them.
she fumbled that hard.
He burned them, which it tells the story where but that's also where it goes back to it being Hamlet, because that journal is essentially the ghost of the father visiting him, telling him to get revenge. And much like Hamlet, Jax has kind of taken a really long time to figure out whether or not he should or he shouldn't get revenge on people for his
Where
father.
did they go?
And
Yeah,
it gives
he does.
Clay a lot of time to regroup once he figures out that he's kind of this is it, he's figured out. What I always found that was very strange about it is he was always a very proactive character, but when it came to getting revenge on Clay, he had a lot of soul searching to do it. But that's essentially what it is. That the ghost of his father is talking to him throughout the entirety of the series, but you don't really pay attention to it. I don't know if they talk about the old lady. There's an old lady that continuously appears, who is the angel of death.
No, the wiki doesn't mention the old lady.
No, that's why I have to say you should watch it. Primarily because there's a lot of stuff that they do where it's I can't even begin to explain. Like they do a good blend of how the supernatural is in real life. Like in real life, you know, like you don't see a ghost appear for you, but like sometimes you find shit out of nowhere. You're like, how did I see this? And it's like, is that a sign? So like him finding that diary was random. The
Kind of sounds
the
like plot convenience.
Well, no, but it's random. Like he wasn't supposed to find that diary. Like that diary, I think it fell out from somewhere, and he happened to get his hands on it. Um, his mother, I think, was gonna throw it away or something, and he held
Oh
on
wait,
to
no,
it.
no, wait. Wasn't it? No, it was planted by the mother. If I remember it correctly, because it was at that point. Because when Tara, that was around when Tara found out, and like, so at that point, the jig was about to be up. So then, what the mother did was like she hid her like the parts of the letter that had her involvement known. She
Okay,
had that
letter,
hidden.
but
Yeah.
there's a journal that he finds also. So there's a journal. This is where it begins. The noise begins, where they start to feel really uncomfortable. He finds a journal that belonged to his dad. And in the journal where that belonged to his dad, he starts to basically like uncover more or less what his father's vision was for the club. And then in the middle of that, the letters are discovered that tell the involvement between that. Basically, like those letters are him saying, "I think they're trying to kill me. I think they're together. Obviously, they don't even hide it around me anymore that they're together.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think I'm just gonna leave sooner or later to go to Belfast. I can only think about you when I go to Belfast. I'm going to Belfast, just running from this place. This place is becoming horrible. This place is not becoming what I originally had envisioned for. I want to not. I don't want to be here anymore. It's more
Why
or
didn't
less,
the
huh?
why didn't the wife just let him? Cause like, why didn't the wife just like let him leave or divorce and just go to Belfast while she? Cause she would just remain. Like, if he were to leave, wouldn't he? I mean, you mentioned the followers, yes, but like,
Well, if he leaves, there's a lot of questions that are going to be raised because if he leaves, the people, the original nine that were still remaining, were still loyal to him. So if they leave, if he leaves, and then they find out, like, oh yeah, he left because he felt like he was being threatened by because Clay was not a first founding member. He's being threatened by a new guy. They might just come back and start offering the new guy because what the fuck, like, what the fuck, you can't do that. And even then, like you can tell that there's some manipulation that occurs because he gets no none of the other senior members become you know the president. It's him. He becomes president somehow.
yeah,
Like
which
how does
is
he become president over Piney
other
or
other senior members.
or Otto or anybody else? Like Clay becomes a senior member, becomes the president. That's why, because he had already like kind of set it up that some people were loyal to him, but without JT around, make it look like an accident, make it look like they were best friends. Yo,
Wait, you can probably answer this for me. What Jack's ex-girlfriend that shows up like yeah, she was the one that because like yeah, Jack had two kids. The one that the ex and then Tara.
yeah.
The other girl was you didn't was her name Cindy? No.
No, I can't remember her name right now.
But like did she get killed?
No,
'Cause
she keeps the kids in the end.
no. Like, No, wait, I thought Jack dies in the end.
Jax dies, and that lady takes the kids in the end.
Oh, wait, the ex-girlfriend takes both the
The
kids?
junkie one, yeah,
Yeah.
she's a reformed junkie,
Uh, there it is.
so she takes the kids. I'm trying to remember what her name was. She's Abel's mother, and after a while, like Jax realizes that she is cleaned up and that she does mean well and that she does care about the kids and that she does want to, like be active in her son's life. So when what happened winds up being is that out of everyone left, there was him, and then there was this other guy that Gemma starts dating, this pimp guy, who turned out to be actually a good dude. So he has a son too, and Jax feels that it would be best if the kids go with them. So the kids go with them at the finale. That's how it. Oh, the last shot you see of the kids is they go off with him. He runs into the truck, and kills himself.
Wait,
But
Jack was.
yeah, Jack runs into a truck to kill himself.
Hmm.
Is basically what Jax does by the end is that he kind of does like it's kind of an homage to The Godfather.
Yeah, well,
He
he
goes
go like he,
around,
yeah,
he
and
settles
like
business affairs by the end of the day.
yeah, he is. He doesn't he kill Juice? Because like you have the
He has
at this
Juice
point.
killed.
Yeah, he had Juice.
He has
I mean,
Juice
to be
killed.
fair, at that point he kind of deserved it.
And Juice kind of wanted it already at that point.
Yeah, he wanted to die. Like he was practically begging to be put out of his misery.
Well, that's what it was, because Juice felt terrible about what he did. Like, the problem with Juice was that he lived permanently with his balls against the bandsaw. Juice. Because Juice not being, Juice and being what he was automatically puts him like in a really weird position. Puts him in a really bad position because Juice can't really avoid being who he is. Juice is part black. Once it's discovered that he's part black, he's always living with that fear that sooner or later the other clubs might come back and bring some shit on him. So the dude never gets the chance to live like a really peaceful life. He's kind of stuck
Oh, I thought he was
with.
part Mexican, not part
He's
black.
part Mexican, part black. So they allowed him in because he's not even Mexican. He's like Puerto Rican or something.
Yeah.
So they let him in on those guidelines. There's no rules that say he can't based on that. But when they find out that he's black, the bylaws say no blacks. That's pretty much like where his conflict begins, and he lives like in that constant state of fear his whole life. That's like the biggest overarching problem with him throughout the entirety of the series is that he can't be at peace. He's like afraid every other minute that he's going to be discovered, or that he's lying to people, or that something's happening. And it's with all of that stuff that he lives in that fear where like it's even visible that he's easily manipulated. Because I think Clay even manipulates him for a second.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Like Clay even tries to manipulate him because he's afraid. Like Clay can recognize that he's afraid. Clay can recognize that something's wrong. And the difference between Jax and Clay is that the reason why Clay was also able to hold control is that Clay is a very good orator. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like Clay fills like that family patriarch role really well.
Yeah.
Kind of like a dad.
Whereas Clay, he was more of the business.
Jax is more business. Like I think there's a moment where like there's one guy who has a girlfriend and he's sleeping with one of the whores in the brothel, and then when he walks out and Jax sees him, he's like, well, boss, and Jax just waves his hand like, I don't want to hear it. You do you. I don't care. I have other
You
problems.
you keep cutting in and out.
How about now?
Well, it's been happening for the entire time we're talking about it.
It's
I'm
the
also
wire.
watching this. It's
Huh?
probably that. Yeah, because I'm also watching the stream and it's in like 30, 60 FPS.
Oh, it's probably the game I'm playing.
Yeah, you're playing Resident Evil. No, but even like your webcam. Oh, is hold on, let me see. Oh, this is at 140. Let me see if I. Yeah, okay. All right, so that was completely on my side.
Yeah,
The
the PS
the
runs at
stream.
default.
You know, but it would automatically like it should automatically up it to a higher resolution because like no, this is a remaster of Resident Evil 1. This should be a better quality. Right. Let's explain that. But yeah, I don't know why your audio keeps cutting out.
Yeah. I'm just literally playing this right now just to capture random footage here and there.
But yeah, reading the synopsis of that series was just fucking wild. Like the white, like that the mother was like I felt like she was like a top like most evil villain to be put on TV. Like, and that was very impressive because like because she starts out as someone that's like okay,
She's
like
very like mom. She's like that
yeah,
tough mother figure.
yeah, that you try to like there are some qualities that you kind of like see within her and it's like oh you kind of master and then as it just keeps getting go and keeps going and going you're just like okay this monster needs to be put down. Like she literally plotted the assassination of her dead husband with his best friend, and then when things got going, she turns around, turns on him with such coldness. Like what was it? It was like there was one thing they it pointed out like when something happened with him. Like I think it started her in one season. I think it was in season 4, where she's basically like drugged out of her mind, having sex with some random dude that she picked up from a bar. And this was like just after she just like come to terms with like the gang rape that she experienced like a couple of seasons prior. It was just crazy.
Oh, that's the dude who winds up staying with the kids.
What?
It's Jimmy Smits. Yeah, he's a pimp.
That blows my mind.
He's the one
Wait,
that winds up taking care of Jax's kids.
did Jack knew that he?
Well, he
I'm
was
sure
getting
he.
out of the life.
Mm. Oh
He
yeah,
was
I'm
getting
sure
out
he.
of the life already, so he didn't want. He was okay with the kids going with him because since he was getting out of the life, he was a much more positive, safe type of person to watch the
Because
kids because he had his own kids too.
I can't remember if he was a good person because I know
He
like
was.
he basically okay yeah because I know he the mother hits him up several times just for like just sex while like Clay was trying to get back with her and she was just not having any of it. I
No, she
forgot.
didn't want to go back because he had beaten her up.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He beat her. He beat her up bad.
Mm.
That was, I think, Clay's like final straw before he was officially ousted from Sam Crow. Like they didn't want him as president. They didn't want to do anything anymore
But
because
was that
when they
staged by her? I feel like
no.
that was.
So what
It,
happened was, to my understanding, so this is why like she's a very complex character.
hmm,
He was going to go kill Tara.
because she found the
So
letters,
because
right?
she knew,
Hmm.
and Tara was also officially starting to cause the rift between uh, him and Jax. So he was gonna go kill Tara, and then potentially hurt the boys. So now that's where Gemma gets involved because she doesn't want those kids hurt. Those kids are her. Those kids are her
Grandmother.
A, grandkids, and B,
Yeah.
they're also, her future.
Yeah. That.
So she doesn't want those kids hurt, like, period. So he was about to go kill Tara or something along those lines. And when she said, "You're not going to do that, I'm going to stop you," he's like, "Get out of my way." He's like, "Oh, what?" And then he punched her. He didn't even slap her. He punched her across the face.
Damn.
And then she's like fought back, but he's a big dude. It was Ron Perlman. Perlman's a fucking big guy.
Mm.
He beat the shit out of her. He beat the shit out of her. Everyone who saw what he did, they all said, like, "All right, that's it. You've officially lost your way." So I think like he goes to the hospital or something, and at the hospital, after they see the hands and everything, he cuts the patch off that says president, and he assumes control of the club.
Like he.
Jax
Jack
assumes control. Jax cuts the patch off of his vest, and he assumes control. So for the meeting, that's when it first happens. Where like he takes full control. That's when that happens.
I'm trying to understand, like, cause yeah, the wiki summary didn't make sense of like, cause at the point when Tara dies and like Jax just goes off the deep and start picking like fights with like what was it, the Chinese mafia?
Yeah, the triads.
Yeah, like how? Because I know it was a manipulation by the mother, but like what? Like to kind of like if he just keeps fighting battles, he'll just stay, and then she can just keep having more control. But like, what was? Because that was like a really ill-fated decision to
So
do.
they had a business together, to my understanding, and they were at a point of going to war with one another over the business, something like that. It's been a while since I've seen it. So they thought that the whole everything that happened was not in good faith, or they weren't just going to take it lying down. That it was revenge. Killing Tara was a way of getting revenge, and that's how Gemma played it. That's how Gemma made it look. That by killing Tara, she would by killing Tara as a revenge act, that they could go to a war with the Chinese and potentially win the war with the Chinese, and then she could have Jack's back at 100%. That's essentially what her reasoning was. It wasn't a very good idea because at the end of the day, she wound up getting all of those people killed. She wound up getting a lot of their guys killed.
Yeah, because like they were like fighting like non-stop war like after war because they were fighting off the feds, and then in conjunction they were fighting off like some other like another gang, a rival gang. I forget the name of it. It was well established, but and it was back in like season 2, like 1 to 3, I think, or was it like 2 to 3 different games? I keep forgetting, but like you had that, and then you had the Russian mob in prison. And then right from that, they went to fighting a war with the Triad. Like, and throughout all of this, the amount of bodies that they lost in their group, and it include leadership too. Like, there were some senior members that have either left or were murdered during all this time, or imprisoned, or all three. Like, I think wasn't only one person who got away because they celebrate someone getting married, and he actually left the life successfully. I forgot his name. I know he was like a close friend of Jack.
Oh no, that dude, that was OP. He died.
Oh, I thought it was someone else aside from Opie.
No,
Um,
like
I
the
think
the
it's someone
ones
else.
that remained, most of them stayed in the life. Like they all
They
stayed in
stopped.
the life. Like
They,
they that's what they did. They were hardcore gangbangers, biker gangbangers.
they stopped the drug trade because I know like there was a spinoff,
They got
which
that's for the Mayans, and I
yeah
haven't
the
seen
Mayans yeah.
that. So the beginning they start like beefing with the Mayans in the very like first season, and then they make
I mean
peace with the Mayans after a while
yeah, because
because they
like
put
the
business and
Mayans.
everything together. But I don't know what happens with that connection later on. Like I actually have to go watch that show.
From what unless you want me to tell you what I was able to
Go
read
for it,
from
because I
that.
don't know if he's gonna conclude it or not.
What's it? Because like the mine takes place. I forget how many years. It's
Not
like
too
a
long after. It's like a year or so after.
I
That's
was
what
just
I
looking
heard.
at
I don't
this.
know for sure.
But it's like it was like a short like some time like I guess a short amount of time after and but like yeah the Mayans and Sons of Anarchy are yeah they're on good terms at least at the point when I read because there was only like 2 seasons of the Mayans out
Yeah, and
when
I
I
don't know if
first
he
read.
got to conclude it or not.
Yeah, but like I think they were the Mayans from what I was trying to understand was uh, it was a interesting succession because they because I know definitely I think they had another time skip between season 1 and 2 of Mayans because I think there was another like gang war that the Mayans were a part in and they enlisted the help of Son of Anarchy because it like you have people from the original show guest starring and appearing in it.
Yeah, but to my understanding, like it's not going very well for Sam Crow by the in the Mayans in the time of the Mayans when you seeing them. Like it's implied that there's a lot going on because Jax left them legitimate. He
Died.
left them without. He left them clean though. Like, he left them without needing to do any real criminal activity. Like he left them well set up. They had a porn studio that they were able to run. They had brothels, which was legal, which were placed in legal parts of California. They could run. Um, they also had a few other things that I can't remember right now, but they had a lot of things set up that was meant to run legally. So they didn't need to do the guns anymore. They didn't need to do the drugs anymore. They created connections to create differences with everybody too. So
Which
like that's
hopefully
where you didn't need that. They didn't need to be doing that anymore. But in that world, if you're not swinging hard and you're not in it, it's also very tough for you to hold control.
also like they had the FBI on their tail, which is weird for a local like town biker
Well, he
gang.
took he took the responsibility for a lot of the crimes, confessed and everything. But part of the deal was he had 24 hours.
Mm.
He had 24 hours to turn himself in. So in those 24 hours, he went and killed all the rival bosses that would cause them any more trouble. Like he took advantage of that time.
Damn.
I think he even fucking killed RoboCop. The way he kills RoboCop, I think was pretty fucking epic. He's like, "Oh hey son, how you doing?" Bam.
Oh, man, oh man.
And it's
That show was
because
nuts.
of fucking RoboCop that another big issue started too with them. He stole something. Like there was something that he did. I can't remember what it was anymore.
Who, Jack?
No, there was an officer who was played by the guy who played RoboCop,
Uh,
and he was a corrupt, but he was supposed to be on their side. But then I can't remember what the fuck happened, but there was a bit of drama. And that
wait,
drama led to somebody getting killed.
Wait,
And
it
that
wasn't with
drama,
Juice.
no, it wasn't with
I think
Juice. It was somebody getting killed from within their own club in another chapter. A president, he pulled a gun, or he punched the president of another chapter, and then that president pulled a gun and he shot him. And then that was a fucking problem in and of itself because he can't shoot the president. You can't, like, president, they can't shoot with another. There has to be comeuppances for that. So that right there sealed his fate. Because if he kills that guy and then he walks away scot-free, then there's going to be a lot of hell to pay over that. So that led to the necessary, them having to be put, like they had to wind up having a court session about that to put him to death. Like that was like the Sons of Anarchy themselves they have a court. They have like a round table where they make a decision, and then they had to vote yes or no, and it has to be a unanimous decision. So they all had to vote yes so that they stayed good with the club guidelines. So regardless or not, like Jax had to die before the end of the run. It's crazy shit, like when you actually watch it. But like, I remember when I saw it, I'm like, so that's how that was it. Like that whole thing essentially was the ruin of his life. Like that killing that guy pulled it. So when he goes to the bagel shop, like, hey son, hi, boom, he shoots him and walks away.
Yeah, I just find it funny how that the local law enforcement in that area was just basically useless because the gang basically was the law, and they
The
were
gang
more
was the
effective.
law, but it was a very small town with a very highly connected gang.
It's so funny. It's supposed to be so like small, but like it was big enough to grab the attention of the FBI for them to try to implant someone to criminate them. Granted, I don't. They went too far out of their jurisdiction, and they played way too fast and loose, and it blew up back in her face, quite literally. Yeah. What was it? What was it? An axe. Yes.
It's been a while since I've seen
What
this
was
game.
nice? I can't remember. Oh man, but that show.
I hope Kenny didn't get mad when he was saying that word earlier today. I hope I didn't piss him off. Can't
Hey, what
say
word?
the unaliving yourself word no more.
Oh yeah. Oh, you definitely can right now, I'm sure.
Can't. He was on the stream like, yes, that guy, that's the name of the move and shit, but the system hears that term, and then you're out on your ass.
I'm like, I never understood that because they don't allow that, but then there are much either equally or even more heinous things that is still up on YouTube that don't get flagged.
Yep. EDP's back on the platform somewhere. He's on TikTok, EDP.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a safe haven, oddly enough, which is very, very ironic, given the last time you saw him.
Yep.
Like you would never look at the work. You never
I was
look at
just
the
getting a
thing cupcakes.
cupcake.
I'm like, for a good moment, I forgot that was what that meant when people always just like did the cup like when they every time cupcakes and him were mentioned together. I forgot what that meant, and then someone reminded me, and I was like,
I was just getting a cupcake.
Like,
It's
part of me
like,
wants to believe that he's just doing what, like, or I hope Kanye's doing, where it's just like, he just pushed the envelope and just saying something obscene and horrific and don't mean it. They're just doing it just to kind of, like, push the envelope. But
the thing
it
is,
doesn't seem that way. It doesn't
Kanye
seem that
West
way,
means it, and
which is sad. And I can't
yeah,
tell. I can't tell which is worse. The fact that he means it, and he's of sound mind and body, or he's saying it while losing his marbles,
well, the thing is,
and then still continues to double down.
yeah, this is why they say you're losing the marbles, right? Because there's a string that holds the bag together. The marbles are just who you really are, and they're just spilling out. Like in the West household, they don't like blacks. They don't like Jews in the West household.
You said
The
they don't
West,
like blacks.
they don't like blacks either. They're like
I
those
mean,
self-hating people. That's what they are. Like it's, I
wait, West household or West and Kardashian?
the West household, like his
Okay.
family, because like he talked like in that weird interview, he's talking about his family, like he's interacting with his family, and no one's correcting the behavior. Like no one's telling him, "Hey, honey, yeah, don't go around saying that you hate, that you like Hitler. Don't go around saying that Jews are evil. Stop that about Netanyahu."
Wait,
No,
he's a
like
single child, isn't he? And his
yeah, he's a
mom's
single
dead.
child, but like he's been hanging out with like his aunts and his uncles and his cousins.
Oh.
Because there's like a weird moment. Because the way I saw the interview was this guy like Review Tech streamed the interview. He got in trouble for streaming it, but he's like, "Oh well, I didn't think I would get in trouble for that."
Mm.
So he was streaming the interview, and in the interview, there's like a moment he talks about his cousins, and they're doing a prayer, and his cousin created this prayer, and he starts to like talk about like at the table, like he still sees his family. So like the way I interpret that is he is he is still seeing family, but the family doesn't stop and correct him for whatever reason. Be it, he must be giving them money, or maybe as long as he's nuts,
Or encouraging it.
yeah, like they can kind of continue to, maybe manipulate and hold on to his money or whatever the hell. But the ultimate thing is, in that family, in that household, they don't like Jews. They don't like there's a whole weirdness to them that they're okay with this guy going and sitting across the table from another guy who is a modern day neo-Nazi. And that's not just Alex Jones. Like the guy who was at that table, that weird skinny other guy, is also like known to share Nazi rhetoric. So you kind of sit there and say like, but then your your family knows and they're okay with you doing this. So that leads me to two conclusions: either they want his money, or, and it's not unreasonable anymore because I've encountered a lot of weird shit in my day, they're self-hating black people. Like those are people. It's okay for him to hang out with those types of people who look down because they probably look down on themselves.
So, unfriendly version of Uncle Ruckus.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Uncle Ruckus
Yeah.
is unfriendly as shit already as it
Yes.
is.
Unless
He's
you're.
Uncle Ruckus with money.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way. Like, if Uncle Ruckus had money, he would be doing the shit that Kanye
Well,
West
he's
is
Uncle
doing right
Ruckus with money and one career or
now.
two,
Yeah.
stable career. Because
Uncle Ruckus works 37 jobs.
which I'm like, okay, anyone gonna talk
I
about
work
this?
32 jobs. You can't even hold down one. I hold down 32 jobs. Mm-hmm.
And still think it's okay to throw hands with a child in a movie theater.
Oh man, I think I showed Chris the other day the Santa Claus episode where that kid goes to the mall and starts shooting at Santa. Santa pulls up a little girl and uses her as a human shield. You ruined your childhood! He's like, Santa, like, that was actually on Santa's side in this one. What the fuck? Y'all just gonna stand there and watch me get my ass kicked? Ain't this a bitch? Merry fucking Christmas. Walks away. Santa said the F word.
But back to the internet
So,
thing, it's like he's combining it with this nonsensical like Jesus loving rhetoric, which is just like those two don't mix. If you're gonna say this thing, there's either one or the other. You can't have it both ways.
so that's why I was glad the guy that I watched it with was live streaming it because he would stop and look up stuff. Because he's like, there is this notion out there that a lot of these cats like to push that Hitler was a Christian. That he was like a Christian like that. And a lot of people
Christian
have
or
been,
God believing or fearing, because there's a fine line between those two.
and I think like it's been noted more so over time that Hitler was not only not a Christian, Hitler was probably an atheist or something.
Yeah. But you know what? Funny enough, I think I should have saw this coming when back in middle school, there was this Jewish classmate I had who was an atheist, but also was like how should I say this? He was promoting like no, if I remember correctly, like he was oddly racist, like for no reason. If that made any sense.
Like
It's
who?
like he I think honestly he was like precursor to what Kanye is behaving like right now. Like, oh, he didn't have the money. Obviously, he didn't have any career. He, but like I think like he was the precursor to what Kanye West is doing right now,
The
which made
idea
no
that's like
sense.
you hate stuff, you can't give like a valid reason as to why you hate it. You just hate it.
But like the only things that differ between him and Kanye was just like he would like for whatever he act like try to act like a rapper, like try to like pretend to be a gangster, or I don't know why he will always quote Flavor Flav,
Of all the
which was
rappers that you could
well
quote when you're in
typically
middle school,
yeah around that
the
time.
guy that looks like toasted shit is not the one you want to really be fucking quoting, no? Did he walk around with a clock on his fucking jacket around his neck too?
There were times when he came close.
Ugh, that's not
He would
anybody
just
should
keep
come
saying
close to
Flavor Flav.
doing.
It's like, and then he would threaten he would go with the black suited my black classmates, and he would like pretend to like about to drop the N bomb, which made no sense. And then he would go on to say like, oh yeah, he doesn't he didn't care about his religion. He was I can't remember he said he was a Nazi. I want to say he did, but like it was just it was weird. Like he just I felt like he was just doing things for attention or to like get
That looks like
friends.
it's attention, and that's also like a part of his shtick of saying like obscene, stupid crap just to see what people will say. And like those are the types of people where I kind of point out, like, you're right, and those are the types of people I'm talking about. Like, this is what I think Kanye West is like. This is a dude who is obviously got some problems, and he's self-hating. And like, he's self-hating. Like he's probably like, man, I'm a Jew. I'm not black. I'm not. I'm white. I'm not. You know, the term I'm looking for here.
and it says he loves all people. But you can't be a person that says proudly that you're a Nazi and then say you love all people. That is, like, either you are having a mental breakdown of like upper proportions, or you're just spouting nonsense just for attention, which is not helping your brand when you're losing long time business contract deals, like nation or internationally wide.
Yeah, he's
Like,
losing them internationally wise, and on top of that, like he's getting in trouble. Like certain places just don't want him to show up anymore.
yeah, and to top it all off, like, he claims he's a family person. This is not good for your children. Like, granted, his children are luckily in Kim's custody, so at least they have another empire to fall back on.
Well, this
So,
is something that I think I was talking about once with Kenny, right? Because Kenny's like, well, I don't blame Kanye because he's trying to get the kids away from Kim because she's allowing them to be on social media, and I'm kind of like, here's a judgment call. Yeah,
which is odd
it.
because his judgment calls is probably worse than Kim allowing her kids to be on social media.
I mean, like, if I'll be very fair, you ready to shoot this? Kim Kardashian is in no position to be telling her children not to be on the internet doing innocent children things when she's notorious for having a sex tape.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What?
Like, if there's anybody out there in the universe that is in no position to be telling anyone how to live their life,
It's
it's
her.
her.
Yeah. Like, the fact that she had the balls to say, "Oh yeah," with all seriousness,
Go get a
the
job.
to,
I
yeah,
remember
I'm
that one.
just like, you're fucking kidding me with this. Like, oh man, I'm surprised Kanye was the one that got jumped in Paris and not her. Or was it both?
Yeah, wasn't it both?
Oh,
He
oh
just
wait, no,
took
no,
the
no, no.
brunt end of it because
Oh
he's
no,
a man.
oh no, 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 no. He was performing, and then he heard the news that she got mugged in Paris. Because that was during his like concert he was performing at.
Well, you know what? If you mug, I have a question then. What do you get when you mug a Kardashian?
Guess what?
Are they carrying
Jewelry?
anything?
Just jewelry, clothes, stuff like
I'll be
that.
honest with you. I've never seen that woman decked out in jewelry.
I think that's like I need to go find an article that like listed like the report of what it
Whenever I
looks like
see
she's
that woman, she's always wearing like more or less. She's wearing like expensive clothing. But I would be lying if I can remember an image of Kim Kardashian walking around with like ropes of gold and chains.
Hmm, I don't know. It like
Right? Like when you think about it, like when have you ever really seen her? Because she's
oh I
not to say that, oh yes, Kim Kardashian is like one of the most humble people in the world. She doesn't walk around with gold. She walks around with other gold and shit. But my question is like, what is she carrying at any given? Like, if you take her purse, I think the purse is worth more than the contents inside. No.
I think that might be one of the things that let me go find this.
Yeah. Now I'm curious. What the hell do you mug? Like when you go mug a Kardashian, what do you get out of the mugging? Is it worth to hit a
Yeah.
Kardashian if you're mugging her? Like for that sake, you might as well just take your chance and mug somebody else. But I don't blame you for trying to mug a Kardashian. They're a high-profile target.
Yeah.
You're a
What do
punk in
you?
the woods. So you're robbing people already. I don't think your code of ethics is really one to be discussed, right?
Oh, okay, so this happened back in 2016. She was robbed at gunpoint.
This guy had
Okay,
a
yeah.
gun.
So, oh, there were supposedly there were five individuals dressed as police
But
officers, bound and gagged her, then stole $10 million worth of
they
jewelry.
bound and gagged Kim Kardashian. Why do I not feel bad?
Wait, hold on.
I
Let me
should feel
think.
bad for that, but at the same time, it's like this lady was going around telling people to go get a job last year.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, was it last year or was it this year? This one
This
was this
year,
year.
she was going around telling people like, get off your lazy asses and get to work."
Yeah, I'm just like,
Was that
you
this
were
year or was
you
that
were.
last year?
I could have. This felt like this year.
Like, if it weren't for this incident I'm hearing about right now, I don't think I would feel. If it weren't for that, I would feel a lot worse. For at the end of the day, nobody deserves that.
Well,
But the
the
reality
sympathy.
is, like, the sympathy just goes really low. Like, I don't feel bad.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. What's it? Yeah, they stole $10 million worth of jewelry. These got in her residence, threatening to harm her. So had a gun to her head, tying her wrist as a gag. Who was placed in the bathtub, was physically unharmed and reportedly back from Wednesday with her hands free from plastic ties around her wrist and screamed.
Damn, so those guys went to town. I'm surprised. You know what? I'm surprised they didn't do anything to her.
Yeah, honestly, say what you will about the French, the fact that they were able, they decided not to do anything aside from just bound and gag her and just rob her of her stuff speaks
Like,
volumes.
yeah, that says a lot. That seems like this. If that were in the U.S., those guys would have run it. Like, again, I don't. Anybody listening, I'm not condoning them doing that to Kim Kardashian. It's just you hear stories about the shit out here in the U.S. Like in the U.S., like people are fucking nuts. I
Like,
That could have
how?
gone even worse aside from a robbery. Now that I know she was bound and gagged, that means they hit up all the shit that she had in her hotel room,
And that's it.
and that's
And
it.
left her unharmed physically.
Like, I
But yeah,
left
like,
her at least more or less unharmed. Like, she
yeah,
is
but like
bound
you
and gagged.
compare,
They probably beat her up a bit to get her into the tub.
but
But
there's
compared
always just
to
that is a just threatening her with a gun, and she just complied, and then he just bound her.
which is what you do when it's a gun coming at
Mm.
you.
But then you compare this to, like, say what happened to Demi Lovato when of her last overdose with her drug dealer who supplied her. She OD'd. He came back and raped her.
As she was ODing, right?
No, like, no, not as she was ODing. Like, I think. Well, no, I think after she OD, or I don't know. But basically, like, he could have helped her. Like, it was visible that she OD'd, but like he literally just raped her and then, like, I think stole stole some stuff and then left, but basically left her for dead.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like That's the thing that sucks, right? Is that that's common out here.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't. It's not like I want to say like, oh yes, those guys are. That she should have gotten one. No, that chick could have gone. It's already bad what happened to her. It could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah.
Like, that could have gone a lot worse. And I hope for her sake, she fired her security company, because it doesn't matter if you're dressed like an officer. Normally, the officers are waiting for you at the airport. They don't just show up to your hotel. Although, in all fairness, I wouldn't be surprised if the officers at the local police department was in on it.
Well, get this, like, so, like, what was it, about a year later, or was it a year? Hold on, no, it wasn't a year later. I think it was like 3 months. Yeah, because in January 2017, the French police detained 17 persons of interest for questioning in the robbery case. From there on, 16 people were arrested for their alleged involvement. Then it was revealed in 2020 that the French prosecutors would seek trial for 12 of the suspects who allegedly entered a room where or near senior age and were named the Grandpa Robbers. What the fuck?
Grandpa Roberts, what the fuck is this, Home Alone?
Ooh,
They didn't even
2021.
have like hardcore gang banger names, like the Skull Robbing Crew. Fucking Grandpa Roberts.
Okay, I am waiting for. Okay, so this is still ongoing because as of 2021, the suspects were still awaiting trial with at least one other guy who entered the room reportedly pled no contest to the charge. But like the fact that it said that the suspects who allegedly entered her room were of or near senior age. Hold on, that's all I could find. without like kind of like, too crazy about it, but like, doesn't that something about that seems off, right? It went
Yeah.
from 5 to 17,
Well, that's the thing.
now
It's you get a
12.
bunch of people. Like you think 5 people are they're gonna just do that on their own? Somebody knows what room she's staying in. I'm learning
Fact
about
that
this shit now because of Crystal's sister. Because Victoria is a big fan of like how the K-pop industry is and shit. She's a
uh,
big fan of K-pop and BTS. Like I don't know if you were when you guys met her, like if she went off on you guys about that.
she did not.
But she'll talk your ear off if you let her about like BTS and Blackpink and all this stuff. So she means it like in a good way. If you tell her, "Hey, I don't want to hear it," she'll stop. But like a good chunk of like the conversation, or sometimes like she talks about like how the idols prepare for security and public relations and stuff, and part of it is security for them is top notch because they have to protect the idol. So like
Yeah,
it goes, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So for example, when they're if you see those videos of them on TikTok, right, you can't see outside their window. You can't see outside the window because the window would be a dead giveaway as to where they are. So they don't let you see outside the window when they're taking pictures. That's one step already. Second step too is you can't. Nobody knows what hotel room they're in, so they don't let you. They don't let you like. They don't let them broadcast what hotel room they're gonna in. When they go into the hotel room, they're let up somewhere, and that's it. You don't see where they go, and they're not allowed to leave on their own either, because people could be able to figure it out. Like they could be
yeah.
tailed, so they don't go anywhere alone. So if somebody knows what room Kim Kardashian is staying in,
They're
now
in.
she is a little dumb. I don't mean that to be like, oh, she did this to herself. Like, no, she does seem to be a bit of an airhead, right? Oh, she's a billionaire. She made all this money. Yes, but she's riding on the coattails of somebody else who has money, and she's kind of making money off of her body. You know, if I had a six-pack abs, I'd be making money off them too. You know, but let's go about what the optics are. She's probably taking pictures of the view, so they might be able to see. But more than likely, there is somebody at check-in, check-out, probably 5 people working that desk that know what room she's in. There's probably another 5 who are working room service that
But
also
like, but
know
doesn't
what
it
room
sound
she's in.
like something? This doesn't it sound like what would happen if you piss off like the people that work at the French hotel that she stayed at? You
You're
know?
100% correct. That would piss him off. If I were the owner of that hotel, I'd be like, do you know that now no famous person gonna want to stay here, right? Because now we fucked up in protecting a simple high security client. Like, yeah, so high security. No, it's pretty simple. Unless they're on the list, officer or not, you don't let them through the door like that. Who
Yeah,
told everybody that this woman was going to be staying at this room? Like,
yeah,
who
like
told them the room?
yeah, because that definitely had a bit of inside job from like someone, like, but like, and I only I'm even leaving out the part where like there was footage of the event that was taken on her phone, which she claimed was stolen during the whole event.
Kim K uses a Google phone. I doubt she does. But let's just say for shits and giggles she does. She could put off of the Google Photos backdrop. If she recorded it, and let's say the thieves stole the phone and they left, right? They left her alone. They left and they just put the phone in a bag
Mm.
somewhere. They stole everything. That phone is that video is uploading to the cloud now. You can go recover it off the iCloud that way because it's like, all right, yeah, it'll back up in a bit. And I believe that the Kardashians probably do pay the additional fee, for they might be able to. I see them paying the fee for the iCloud backup. That's just me. I can see them paying that fee so that they can back up their pictures and all this other stuff onto their hard drives.
Mm.
That's
Yeah,
how they
and
can score back.
yeah, something about this
But
I
something to
mean,
me says inside job.
yeah, it just screams. If you take it at face value, this screams an inside job.
Yeah, like to me, it's an
From
inside job from every
Cause
way up. Somebody
like
also supplied those cats with policeman outfits. Yeah, this is like an Ocean's 11 movie. Like there's a trace. It looks like yes, 5 people did it. Yeah, but
well, why
who gave
policeman
5
outfits?
police officer outfits? You need 5 policemen that are going to surrender. At minimum, 2 to 3 guys who are going to surrender those outfits.
Also, it shouldn't take 5 people to rob just her, because they didn't report like there was a struggle with any other like staff
No,
or
no,
people
she
from the
was
team.
smart. She probably said, "Everybody, put your fucking hands in the air. Let them take whatever they're gonna take." But she was probably left alone, which is where, like in her case, my beef now is not with local law enforcement. My beef is now with my security company that left me alone and provided a gap. Now you have yourself another set of people that are being arrested and questioned. Who the fuck? Why
Uh,
would you guys leave your client alone like that? At the
well,
end of the day, she could be annoying as shit. It is your job to make sure she gets from point A to point B safely.
well, here's the thing: if there was any suspicion of any foul play on from her any member of her team, like either A, you would have heard about it, or B, like they would have like kept that quiet and like to the best of their ability. But all you've heard is just like, oh yeah, there's like only people of interest in France that
Yeah.
were related to the case. But now that the whole thing about, oh yeah, these like senior people, I'm like, what? You just got robbed by a bunch of old people? Is that what you're telling me? It's like, are they like like veterans, like former like law enforcement PIs? Is just like, why would a bunch of old people risk? Well, actually, no, they have nothing to lose. Honestly, like the best people to like commit
No, and they're
crimes
also
are old
unsuspecting.
people. Yeah, unsuspecting, and even they get caught, they don't have much life left in them. They're not
I'm
gonna.
gonna steal a line from a movie that sticks with me to this day, and it's a very unlikely, immature ass line, but it still works. You ever seen Dumb and Dumber? I was robbed by a sweet
Yes.
old lady on a motorized cart. I didn't even see you coming.
I forgot how. I know I used to watch that movie when I was a kid a lot, even though I'm pretty sure I saw the censored version of it.
Hey, that
Like
movie
what?
doesn't necessarily need that much left. It doesn't need that much left in it. It's very like raunchy. It's not that super duper raunchy.
Mm. But I think it was like PG-13. But then like what was actually what was able to see on TV was like maybe like PG, because they cut out like obvious like they cut down on a lot of the obvious raunchiness, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he did. But yeah, like that's one of those things like I always notice about that movie. Like that line always comes back to me. I was robbed by a sweet old lady in a motorized cart. I didn't even see you coming. And it's like,
Right.
that's what it's like though. Like, you're gonna get
But
robbed by some old people. You're not gonna know they're coming for you. Like, cause you probably saw a bunch of old people dressed up in outfits. Like, oh shit,
they have the
I get
right
these
people to
people.
commit crime. Like so when I saw like that on the Watchdog 2 game, they had the ability for you to play as old women. They can beat the shit out of you. Like an old, I think it's some old English woman to boot to. I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. Like if I were to play that game, she would have been my only main character. Give me so much shit.
Yeah. But I repeat myself. Like, you don't see it coming when it's an old person. Like, all right.
Yeah, it's like good cases in point was what's his name from Breaking Bad. Uh, what's it? Yeah, Mike.
Heisenberg or Mike
No, 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 not Hyde.
Ehrmantraut.
No, 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 not Mike. No, no, not
Mike
Heisenberg.
Ehrmantraut, wasn't he the old guy that
Yeah,
was the hitman?
yes, he was so fucking good at what he did.
Yeah.
Like the only time I saw prior to the prequel sequel Better Call Saul, like the only time he actually took a was it? Hold on. Yeah, yeah, it was in yeah, it was in the original Breaking Bad. Like he actually, the only time he actually took a like any sort of significant damage was when he was in that truck and he got part of his ear blown off when he was doing a I guess typical run or job for Gus at the time. I'm not
Just doing
counting
a routine job.
that random ego bullet that Heisenberg put him in.
Yeah, that was all ego, right?
Yeah,
He
oh
didn't need
yeah.
to kill him.
He was just so pissed
He was pissed that
at
somebody
Mike.
told him off.
Yeah, and then he spins back around with the gun that he lied to Mike saying he left in the duffel bag with the money. Well, his like part money, and then puts a bullet in him. You know, a fatal one too to that. Which is just like of all the ways to go out, and then and at that point he realizes when he catches up to his bleeding body, is like I just realized like blah blah blah. Blah and it's, like you kind of have to feel bad for Mike because to
I
go
felt bad
out.
for Mike in that one. Like, yeah, Mike was. I always hoped that Mike's finale would be like this badass super shootout finale or something.
Nope, he gets killed by
Just
an
shot in
ego
the neck
driven.
by some dumbass who has an issue, who had an issue with him. That was it. That was the death of Mike Ehrmantraut.
He just like shut the fuck up and let me die in peace. That
Yeah.
that was the only way he died on his own terms. He just let me go. Because I don't like. He did not want his last moments having to listen to.
This guy's exposition about how he's sorry and he never does these kind of things. Shut the fuck up.
Oh yeah, it's just
Just
like
shut up. I
he
don't
was the
care.
voice of reason. He was the voice of reason.
He was. Because he even helped out Jesse when that other guy ripped him off. He's like, hey, don't leave your money lying around, you know?
But even aside from that, like he told Gus that he should have like never do business with Walt.
Yeah.
Even before meeting him, when he looked at his what like the amount of background he did on him, he's just like, yeah, no, like he had him pegged, but everyone wanted to get on the blue sky money train. Like, oh, let's give him a chance. Oh, Saul did it, Gus did it. I mean, Gus learned eventually, and that's why he tried to get him killed. But by then it was too late. He gave Walt too much time to manipulate Jesse to kill his replacement. Bless you.
Thank you. Yeah,
No, but
Gus was manipulating him, and I'll be honest with you though, like there's something weird, right? All of the people he's going against seem very scary and very evil,
mm.
but the reality is he is worse than the people that he was going against.
Oh, Walter.
Yep. Because Gus was a straight up all business type of guy.
Yeah,
Like Gus, if he didn't really need to hurt you, he didn't.
but he
And
wasn't above using children.
he wasn't above threatening you with children. Walt actually tried to kill Brock. Like Walt was not above it anymore. Like the whole point of that flower that you find in his pool house is that he was not above hurting kids, and he tried to
Yeah,
hurt that kid.
just like Gus. Meanwhile, what was it? What didn't he admonish Gus for trying to use?
He
Oh,
did.
what's that? Just only Jesse.
He tried. He basically he manipulated Jesse back to his side,
Yeah,
by saying, well, I don't believe in hurting kids. The only one here who's proven to hurt kids before is Gus. Because Gus had that other kid that killed Jesse's friend executed.
That was just drug. Like they kind of showcase the brutality of the drug life, but at the same time they do it while they're kind of glamorizing it, and it's a double-edged sword because
So,
it does happen in real life in a similar fashion.
in all the accounts that I have heard from people who have lived that life, they have all said that you can make a lot of money in that life, but it's below minimum wage after a while.
Wait, it's below what?
Below minimum wage after a while, considering how much you're out there hustling all day long.
Yeah.
I think 50 Cent wrote in his book, because 50 Cent, like, if he were to ever lose his billions, he knew how to mix crack. He's like one of those people that he knows how to mix crack like that.
Oh my
And he's
goodness.
like, well, when you start to do the math, you're out here maybe 12 hours a day, 15 hours a day, and you're maybe some days you don't get paid if no customers come by.
And that's
So really, you're
and that's
out there less than that.
and that's like given like the time when things were like at its like peaks, because and that was back before the waves of inflation that were soon to follow. So if they were to do what those people did back then now, they would not be able to they the best they could hope for is to break even, which they can't, and that's not taking into account what happens when you get busted, because not only do they take your stash and whatever money you gain from it, if you even manage to find like enough clients to like buy your product, then you have to pay for all the fees that you go to building your defense if you even have enough money, and then you just sit and rot in jail
Yeah,
if you're lucky, or you can just go into a shootout and see how that goes for you.
it never goes well.
It never goes well.
That's something somebody pointed out. That's like, in my opinion, especially like after me going to college or whatever, and a lot of the stuff that like I learned while I was there, in my opinion, that is the most accurate depiction of it. Like, yes, you will see that there's that one guy. There's always that one guy who makes a lot of money dealing drugs, and he's ready to go and fight in the comment section with you. Nah, man, I was a hustler. Cool. Your name is this. Let me go call 911. Dickwad. But like, reality is, you're like you said, you're paying for your defense. You're paying for all these other things, the fees, the ingredients. I'm pretty sure a lot of these cats don't mix that shit at home. So they've also now have like a time frame as to they pay where they got to go do it. Unless they have a safe house, and even then, that safe house isn't free.
Mm.
So, really, when you start to do the math, unless you're getting it from a supplier and you're selling it back, and the supplier is totally cool with you not having his money every week, nah, man, it's not that glamorous of a life.
Isn't like the drug trade like a long-standing example or precursor to the pyramid schemes of like the modern times? Because like it's just run just like that. Because you have someone who's above someone else, who's above someone else, and it's always like non. Oh, that's all good. Can't really do anything.
That's it. I'm good.
Like, am I wrong about that? It's like the drug age is like a giant pyramid scheme.
Pyramid scheme.
Yeah,
It's a
but
pyramid scheme where like the fans of another industry are the ones that the ones that motivate you into thinking that you're cool. So usually rap fans that go around saying like, "Oh man, though I run that
Uh,
stream, man. You run the
yeah,
drugs, but you were never a drug dealer at all,
yeah. But
and
it's
you were
like, you know,
encouraging other kids to do it."
it's weird because it's like I can't even fully call it a pyramid scheme, even though it's just set up like one. When like people actually, there are some people that actually make a profit off it. You have like legit insights. They actually exist. Why there's so many dogs in here?
Because of this fucking place. I'm trying to get back to this one room where there was this treasure chest, not a chest, this key spot, and I'm gonna put my bad key in there and pull their good key out.
All without using up ammo. Because yeah, I know the reason why you haven't pulled the trigger on these dogs.
Not only that, it doesn't do anything.
It's weird because like it is has all the functionality of a pyramid scheme, but with some actual payoff. But the consequences it
Consequences
has is
aren't.
just
But it's also where like 50 Cent said it, right? He's like, when you start to think about the consequences too, like you can do some hard time. It is not worth it.
or like let's say you don't get caught, then you will run the risk of running into a rival gang.
It,
That's just inevitable.
You're gonna run
Like
into them, they tune you up, and you don't have insurance.
or even worse, you create your rival gang. You create your competition. That's the worst. Like you don't treat your partners or your people that you're working with properly, and you know what they leave you, and they always take something. Either they take the operation, they take the followers, the clientele. They always take something, which is like, and they set up shop, and it's like that's a constant source of contention.
Yeah, because
And
one guy was probably getting the customers, and the other guy's the one who's doing the business. But if the other guy knows how to do everything, then he doesn't need you to go around getting his customers anymore.
but if you're not putting your end of the bargain and you're just wasting money on like on prostitutes, which or just like unnecessary stuff, which that always happens. It's just a thing. They will
Well,
always spend it on women, other drugs, or booze, or just something unnecessary.
that's the other thing that 50 Cent kind of. It was actually a very interesting book to read, to listen to him talk about this time dealing drugs. Because he's like, you know, you spend so much money. He goes like, all right. He goes, I earned a lot of money. And he's like, after a while, what I come back and I do, he says, is I have this gun. I have like this money. Let's see if this works. Shit, that does not work. I'm gonna go put that key away. So he's like, you spend a lot of time. He goes like, I have money. I was buying a Game Boy and all the games to play with it. He was like, I wasn't really using it. He's like, I would be lying to you if I said like that I actually used that thing. He goes like, my time was always, I was always too busy to use it. He goes like, I remember. He's like, I would learn something, and he's like, I didn't really care because I was so busy just trying to get more money out of what I was already doing because I was good at it. And after a while, you sit there and you go like, all right, well, then what are you doing with your time, right? You're literally just living to work at that point.
Oh, learning to not get killed.
Yeah, living to not get killed at that point. Because sooner or later, someone is going to bump you off.
Yeah, you get caught by the police, you get turned on, you get caught by a rival, or something, just something.
Or what happens is, some guy says something to you at a car show, and you don't like it very much. So then you go and you shoot him, in an alleyway, and it turns out his brother's Ice Cube. And then one day when you're out eating burgers in the middle of the night, they ride up and they shoot you after that telling Cuba Gooding Jr. to get out of his car, get out of the car. And then, later on you find out that you got shot, that he got shot after shooting you a couple of days later. Because he was upset that his story was not being told anywhere in the hood. Yeah. Boys in the Hood. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
I have not.
You ever saw Boys in the Hood?
No.
What kind of movies were you guys allowed to watch in your household?
Not as much as other people.
Such as, well, what was on the menu? I'm just curious.
If there was anything on the menu. Come think of it, aside from Toy Story, we never watch film as a family.
Well, in a weird sense, is where the horror stuff comes back to. Hey, TikTok, I'm talking about horror again. Horror movies were the only things we ever sat down and watched as a family. That was about it. I wasn't joking one time when somebody's like, well, how could you badmouth Disney? And I'm like,
oh, pretty easily.
Very easily. Check this out. I'm like, you only grew up watching Disney movies. I was born in horror, molded by it, shaped by it. I didn't see a Disney film until I was already a man. Then you yell at somebody. Fucking hit the one person that's sitting there staring at you with a fucking Avengers jacket on, trying to look cool. Yep. You beat them silly.
The toys aren't going to save you now? I don't think so. Get down on the ground.
Armory. We will need it. We will steal the formula and James Gunn. Thank you, Mr. Stark. We are stealing James Gunn and other actors from your arsenal. It would be great if Dave Bautista eventually pops up in a Batman movie. That'd be fun to see.
I'm trying to think. What other villains have we yet to play?
So,
Aiken.
If you were to give me the DCEU, there's like 3 things I would do right now, especially since Batman is, a lot of those actors are kind of feuding with Disney. I will go drive a dump truck full of money up to Scarlett Johansson's house.
Whoa. She doesn't need any more money.
And I would ask her, how much do I have to pay you to be Poison Ivy?
You can find better talent.
Well, right now, who could do Poison Ivy?
Wait. It has to be a woman that can match the sexual intensity of Margot Robbie. Because, they're going to obviously push for that type of Harley Quinn that is bisexual, that's in a sexual relationship with Poison Ivy. That's what's gonna happen.
I mean, I have one other person who could do it, but I don't know if she would do it.
I'm trying to think of a. I think our best bet would be a Latina.
Well, so I say the second bet that I would go and get is Aubrey Plaza. People of TikTok, who would you cast as Poison Ivy in a live-action Batman film? If anyone is watching.
Alright, let me sleep on this. It's late as it is.
Yes. Thanks anybody who tuned in. Sorry I couldn't respond. TikTok is annoying by letting me do the chat. Hope you guys have a good night. Just tune out that one.
Take care, guys.
Alright, you too. Take it easy. And YouTube, if anybody else is on here, so I see there's people watching. We are ending the stream now. I hope you guys have a good one.